because I don't know anything about the examination. I thought I'll clear it within 1 or 2 attempts, and I mean that's how it started. This personal mentorship from Civilsdaily, the Mastermind program, right? It really helped me improve my scores. GS also, Sajal sir, he was also very helpful for me. GS1 I'm very weak, and I got good input from sir. And somehow I mean everything worked this time. You guys are doing very good job, and thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Mourya. Thank you.
So first thing is the faculty is very accessible. Like they never kept me waiting for long. Within 1 or 2 days, they used to respond to my doubts. So that's one good thing I want to say. And also the feedback was very elaborate. It's not like redundant. Just write some very generic points and all. It's very specific to my problem. Every question, like there are 20 questions in the test paper, right? In GS1 or GS2. Right. So every question was discussed post the test. Usually those sessions used to long for like 1.5 hours phone calls. I remember our first paper discussion, it went on for more than 2 hours. I was asking you, ma'am, you can take a break and I we can continue later.
कौन नहीं चाहता कि उसका मेंटर एक यूपीएससी रैंकर हो। 2021 के फाइनल रिजल्ट्स में सिविल्सडेली आईएएस के 200 से भी ज्यादा सिलेक्शंस हैं। गाइस, आई एम गोइंग टू कनेक्ट यू 1-to-1 विद सिविल्सडेली रैंकर्स फॉर फ्री। देयर इज अ लिंक इन द डिस्क्रिप्शन, फिल इट एंड शेड्यूल अ सेशन। These ranker will prepare a timetable and a personalized plan for you. ये टॉपर्स आपको एग्जैक्टली वही बताएंगे कि कौन सी बुक फॉलो करनी है, कौन सा चैप्टर पढ़ना है. They will guide you in answer writing, mocks and accessing them. Don't miss this golden opportunity to get mentored by a ranker.
Hello guys, this is Sukanya Rana, a core faculty at Civilsdaily, and today I'm in conversation with All India Rank 28, Mourya Bharadwaj. Now, I would use a lot of things to introduce Mourya. But since Mourya and I've been connected for like now 2 years, one thing that really comes to me is somebody who's very calm. I've talked to him just few days before examination, and he's at very peace when he's giving the examination. So he's somebody who's remained very calm, very persistent, very, very, very peculiar about his studies. Even though he was a working professional, his dedication always showed throughout. So guys, this is Mourya Bharadwaj for you. This is All India Rank 28 for you. Hi Mourya, how are you?
Hi ma'am, I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. So how are you feeling right now?
I'm very happy ma'am. It's a very long journey for me. Like it's almost 6 years, and I have seen many highs and lows throughout the process, and finally like I was able to get the desired rank in service.
Right. So you just said it's been a very long journey for you. Let's start from the beginning. Like you graduated from a good institute, NIT Warangal. Now after that, you directly was placed in an MNC. And when did this idea of getting into civil services got into your mind?
So civil services was there right from my high school days. My family background is like that. My father is a government teacher. My mother is in government health department. So from childhood, like most of my childhood was spent visiting my father's school and my mom's hospital. So from that time only, I'm inspired like to work in public services.
I am Sajal, and I have mentored almost 200 rankers in last 4-5 years. We know what challenges you face, and that's why Civilsdaily follows a personalized, student-centric and evidence-based approach through our mentorship program. Every student is assigned a dedicated mentor who helps you learn and apply the strategies of our past toppers.
It has several sub-programs, Prelims test series, mains test series, and the most helpful to me has been the mentorship program.
मेरा मेंटोर मैं 3-4 दिन उनसे टच में नहीं रहूँगा तो मेरे को 4 बजे मैसेज करेंगे, तुम्हारे जो टारगेट्स थे वो तुम्हारे अचीव हुए नहीं हुए,
क्योंकि बहुत सारे स्ट्रेस आते हैं, बहुत सारी चीज़ें होती हैं, ये सब मैं डिस्कस करता था.
So I've been able to comprehensively improve my preparation with this program.
रणदीप सर के साथ रह के मेरी एफिशिएंसी बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ी है.
मुझे ये भरोसा है कि मैं प्रीलिम्स आने वाले में क्रैक करूँगा.
But in college, when I joined EC, I liked my graduation subject also. I feel that I'm a good electronics engineer. I liked my graduation subject also. So I thought after college I can work for 2 years and I'll figure out whether I want this or whether I want civil services. So in that process, I worked for 2 years in SanDisk. I felt it was good. It is fine, but I felt civil services. With civil services, I can get more satisfaction and work in those domains. So that's why I resigned and started in 2017.
Okay, so you started, so there was no starting of like reading the newspaper or doing some basic NCERT studies during your college days or during your job, something like that.
I did not do any preparation in college, unfortunately. I think it's a big mistake I made. I was more focused on my subjects as well as other extracurricular activities, but I never seriously pursued my civil service. Even in job also, I never started it. I felt that once I start my preparation, like once I resign and join some coaching and start, I can manage. And I thought when I started, I thought I can clear in 1 or 2 attempts. And I was very confident at the time because I don't know anything about the examination. I thought I'll clear it in 1 or 2 attempts. And I mean, that's how it started.
Right. So walk me through your first attempt. Like how did you start preparing? What was your idea of how you're going to prepare for each step of the examination? What help did you took at that point of time? Walk me through first, second attempt.
So first attempt was like every other aspirant, I came to Delhi and joined some coaching institute for the entire prelims means that integrated thing.
Right.
And I was regularly attending classes and optional. I think I started in December that coaching, optional coaching. So optional also I came to Delhi and I decided which optional to do rather than thinking beforehand.
Okay.
And I took from December to April, and in that year the prelims was in June. So what happened was, since it's my first attempt, I thought at least I have to clear prelims, and I focused too much on prelims rather than balancing the preparation. I did too much prelims preparation. I was able to clear prelims, but by the time I cleared prelims, I'm not so prepared for mains. So in that 4 months, I could barely finish my optional and everything, and that I did not practice writing, and it's a disaster. It's a very big disaster. I got 60 marks in ethics in that attempt.
Okay.
So, later on, later on, I realized it's not as easy as I thought, and that too. I mean, I have a weakness in writing. I realized it. So from second attempt, I started seriously working on my main skills, answer writing skills and all.
Right. So first attempt was kind of a reality check for you for UPS.
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
So, okay. So this was kind of a reality check. So let's talk about stage wise. Like you talked about answer writing. So was prelims, prelims is coming in few days, 2, 3, 4 days. We have prelims on 5th June. So what was your strategy for prelims? Let's clear out any doubts that students have of how to prepare for prelims, what things to keep in mind. Was it an easy stage for you?
Fortunately, prelims is an easy stage for me. Every time I cleared comfortably. But everyone has their own strength. Prelims is my strength in this process. And for me, what worked, first I'll start with the upcoming examination. Since it's the last 1 week, I would advise aspirants, if anyone is seeing this, please don't read too much in the last few days. Just be as relaxed as possible. Go to the examination with good sleep. Don't read last moment like your engineering or graduation examinations. And use your common sense a lot in examination, because hardly you'll know 40 to 50 questions. Rest all you have to eliminate and do some guesswork and all. For that you need some good sleep and sharp thinking skills. So take rest, eat well, and go to the examination. That's all I can suggest. Be confident. Nice. Be bold. Don't get stuck in the examination. Usually what people do is they get into this dilemma, this trap that whether answer is 1 or answer is B or something, and they waste their time. So just once you fix an answer, move on to the next question. Keep moving ahead in the paper, complete the paper, and do well. All the best.
Right. And nice. So one thing that I noticed about prelims you said is that elimination technique is something that you need to focus upon. I think even at Civilsdaily, we talk a lot about solving through elimination technique, Tigdom, because nowadays the paper is becoming very, very unpredictable. Like it's really not possible to cover everything. So what was your funda of this elimination technique? What was your ideology of how do I eliminate? What was your philosophy there?
So I never followed some practical like these techniques and all. That basic motto for prelims preparation was if I prepare static syllabus strongly, I can do most of the questions well, and rest of them based on the extensive reading we do, somehow I can figure out the answer. Because of my earlier successes in prelims, I got that confidence that my guesses are correct, and I have built up that faith for prelims. So that's how it worked out for me. But I never neglected static portion. So we have 5 areas in prelims, right? Like history, polity, and all, economy and all. Usually I'm weak in history. Like I never read too much of history. But I'm in economics, environment, and these subjects. Because my static, I read good number of static books and all, I'm very strong in them. So even if one area gets tough, the other areas would used to save me in exam. It happened like that. 1 year history used to be tough. 1 year art and culture was tough. 1 year economy was tough. But the other areas like polity and all used to come. Just prepare all the subjects equally. Don't neglect any subject, because some subjects might be easy, some subjects might be difficult in the paper. Easy subjects will bail you out, even the difficult questions if you ignore. So that is how I used to manage them.
Right. So static was your one area that you focused a lot upon here. So what was your strategy with respect to currents? How did you do currents?
Basically, with newspaper reading, we'll get some idea, and there are many institutes in market. You'll get follow one institute. Anything is up to you, up to the individual. Whatever he is comfortable with, he can follow. But one institute for magazine, current affairs, magazines will be there. Just follow them, or one institute compilation, follow them, and practice lot of tests. Multiple institutes, like I practice your institute, Civilsdaily test series also during my prelims preparation. So multiple institutes practice so that you get the knack of solving MCQ.
Yeah, because a lot of time, I've been talking to prelims students. They're like, can we do? The problem with prelims is students get very confused about currents. They keep on jumping from one source to another source to another third source. That is, I think, one of the biggest mistakes, because I've always seen a lot of people who've scored well, they've always stuck with one source. And how many revisions do you give to that source?
3 revisions. When my prelims is, I give 2 months for prelims, usually, at least in my from my second attempt, it was just a 2-month thing. In the 2 months, I'll only study prelims. So my first round will be 30 days. 1 month, the first month, 1 month, 30 days will be first revision, 20 days will be second revision, and last 10 days is third revision.
Right. Okay, so 3 revisions. So yeah, that was your strategy with respect to prelims. So let's move on to your scary stage. Like you said, that you realized that means was something that you had to work upon a lot. And I think that was the reason why we connected also in the first place. Because because we started evaluating. And I remember one of your first copy I saw was back in 2020, I think. And it was not actually of ethics. It was actually of some other subject, because I was actually checking at that point of time. So, so that was something that, if I look at your copy from 2020 and look at your copy, the last GS copy that you submitted to me, your ethics copy, there's a huge difference that has happened in your answer writing. Like from something that went very vague, your points were very vague, sometimes using examples, quoting things, enrichment. That was something that was missing out in your question answers. And suddenly you've shifted to something that was very well written. So give me an idea about how did, what was your strategy with respect to means? How many answers did you write? And how did you improve throughout? Because you got 60, like you said, in the first attempt, you got 60 in your ethics. And in your last, this final attempt, you went on to 105. So what was this journey from 60 to 105?
As I said, initially my writing speed was very poor. I mean, I'm a very slow writer. So in ethics paper, what happened was in my first attempt, 2 hours I wrote case studies. 2 hours, 15 minutes I wrote case studies. Because back then the trend was attempt to start with case studies. So ethics is the last paper, right? So we'll be already exhausted by that time. So it took me around 2 or 10 minutes, 2 or 15 minutes to write case studies. And in the last 45 minutes, I just scribbled on something. Like I left four questions or 5 questions. And the most funny thing is I was expecting an interview call in that attempt. Despite doing so that 67 was a real eye-opener for me, like reality check, as you have mentioned earlier. So that's how it went. But from second attempt, I was very serious. I practiced a lot on writing. At least from my side, I thought that I should complete papers. I shouldn't do such things in examination. And second attempt, I managed to improve my speed. Second attempt, my attempt was solely focused on speed improvement. So daily I used to write 3 hours, whatever it is. Some test series paper I used to take, whatever available online, write 3 hours, like that I used to do. So I used to write, but my content was not proper. And as you said, points were vague. It was not meeting the demand of the question. Because I just used to write. My thought was somehow I used to fill up the pages rather than focusing on content. So that's how second attempt I went to till interview. So once I realized that once you fill papers, you can get interview call, but you can't get rank.
Right. Right.
So I went till the interview in that attempt, but I just barely qualified main, so I did not get rank in that attempt. And from my fourth attempt, I was associated with Civilsdaily. Like in 2020, I met you. Third attempt, it was a disaster because of Anthro, not because of GS. GS was okay only, but Anthro was a disaster and it could not. But from fourth attempt, I got associated with you and Sajal sir, and I got good input from you. I honestly say it. My initial papers, you checked, Sajal sir checked my GS concept and you checked GS for him. You were suggesting there are a lot of things you have to work upon. It is many things. There's a lot of scope because the problem was with toppers, the marks and my marks, there is a consistency. Like GS1, GS4, at least I used to get 20 less. 2 and 3, I used to get 10 less. So there itself, I am back by 50, 60 marks from people who are making and myself. So that small improvements I have to make to cover that. Knowledge-wise, I know I'm good knowledge-wise. Just that the small minor tweaks, minor improvements, value additions, right. So that strategy, that in those inputs I got well from Civilsdaily, and somehow this year everything worked well. And
so that was my next question to you. How did Civilsdaily walk you through in this examination? Because I think that was the thing that we focused upon. Till 80, you can get through your knowledge. You can work a lot and get through your knowledge. But getting that 20 and 30 marks extra is something very difficult. And I think our program, when we got associated with you, we were working on that 30 marks only, right? So how did Civilsdaily, how was your experience at Civilsdaily? How did you feel that mentoring was provided to you at Civilsdaily?
So first thing is the faculty is very accessible. They never kept me waiting for the long. Within 1 or 2 days, they used to respond to my doubts. So that's one good thing I want to say. And also the feedback was very elaborate. It's not redundant, just write some very generic points and all. It's very specific to my problem. Every question, there are 20 questions in the test paper, right? In GS1 or GS2. Right. So every question was discussed post the test. Usually those sessions used to long for 1.5 hour phone calls. I remember our first paper discussion, it went on for more than 2 hours. I was asking you, ma'am, you can take a break and
I
we can continue later.
And I think at that point of time, you used to say, ma'am, I'm working. Can you take my call after 8 or something like that?
Yes, ma'am. Exactly.
So, and I remember we were talking for
also
very
it was
long.
very flexible.
So go ahead.
So it happened like that, and because of this good mentorship, right? Even though I'm working, I never felt left out. I'm not doing so and so test series or so and so this thing, that thing, because one mentor, 1 or 2 mentorship, it was good. So it was fine. Like I'm confident. I know my mistakes. It's just a matter of practicing. For example, ethics
Right.
only. You used to tell me a lot, like use the examples very frequently, explore
Mhm.
multiple dimensions on it. It all comes to practice only. So I think
True,
last year I
true.
wrote three or four full length tests of ethics
Right, right,
exclusively because I'm very weak in ethics. So
right.
that's how this personal mentorship from Civilsdaily, the Mastermind program, right? It really helped me improve my course.
Yeah, I remember I was just going through your emails. So when you gave FLT8, you had actually messaged me, ma'am, I felt very taxing while writing this paper.
Yeah, very taxing.
And ultimately, see, it all paid out. Like you scored really well in ethics this time. And I think overall, even in GS, I think your scores are pretty well. Essay, you got 122. In GS1, you got 108. In GS2, 113. That is also a very good score, considering people do not score really well in GS. 3, you got 91. 4, you got 105. So good amount of score. Acha, one more thing before we shift from your GS is regarding essay. How do you tackle essay today? Because the philosophical essay, people are very confused about what to write, what to not write, what is the right direction. So what was your strategy to tackle writing essays?
So with respect to essays, 2017 All India Rank 1, Andip Durshetty sir, he wrote a book on how to tackle essays. So that was my base thing, basic pointers I got from that book. And I actually like writing philosophical essays because I can write anything in there. So if it is a very specific topic like artificial intelligence or women empowerment, all I have confined myself to that domain, and sometimes I don't have enough content there. But if it's a very abstract topic like human, the journey is from being human to human being to being human, you can write anything there. So it's all about practice. I mean, when you practice, right, just practice writing on multiple dimensions, exploring multiple dimensions, and practice writing. This year, somehow I guessed that both the sections will have philosophical topics. So on the day before the exam, my father asked like, how are you feeling? And all, I told that somehow I'm feeling that the UPSC is so unpredictable. It will give both the sections as philosophical only. I strongly believe that it will happen this year, and it happened like that. So I'm mentally prepared. I did not get shocked in exam. Both are this thing, and yeah, somehow it worked out well.
Right.
I mean,
so one more thing. Let's talk about optional. Like you just said that you had moved to Delhi and then you decided what optional to take. So you had no idea about what to pick, what not to pick. So what was your strategy? Because anthropology is something usually people take because it's a very scoring subject. And we've seen a lot of toppers come from this subject. So what was your strategy? Why did you take this subject? And how would you tell the future aspirants about this subject? And if somebody is trying to take this subject, what they should expect and what they should follow?
With respect to anthropology, when I explored, it was not as scoring as it was in the subsequent years. Like anthro was a very good subject in 2018, 2020. These years it's a good subject, but 2016, it was okay, doing okay. It is not so great subject. At that time, PSIR was the star, but still, I chose to take anthro because I felt I'm from Hyderabad and Andhra Pradesh. So I thought in Hyderabad, the anthro coaching is good. So even once I finish completion, I can go to Hyderabad and continue my anthropology preparation from there. That was the first reason. Availability of guidance, I took into consideration, and the syllabus also I saw, and I thought it's a static syllabus only, not you don't need to do much current affairs for the anthropology, which is partly correct. For paper 1, it is mostly static, but paper 2 it is very dynamic. You have to do a lot of current research and all. Later I got to know. So these reasons I felt. And third important thing is I felt the syllabus is very concise, very small compared to options like mathematics. My friends couple of my friends are from math optional. They said it takes 1 year, and people from anthro, they said it takes 4 months only. So I thought, okay, let's clear in first attempt only, take anthropology. Yeah, it tortured me a lot, that anthropology later, but somehow like this year because of anthro only I got the rank. Ultimately it paid off, but it took so much time. So I would suggest future aspirants, see, don't be so random while making decisions. And deciding optional is a very important aspect for in the preparation. It will make or break your rank. People get stuck years together in a particular optional because the optional is not working for that particular individual. So when I took anthropology, I thought it's easy, but I mean, in this journey, I felt it's a subject which doesn't suit me, because in anthro you have to draw diagrams. Presentation skills matter a lot, and I'm not so good at presentation skills. So I had to work hard, extra hard, to adapt myself to, like for example, you have to quote a lot of scholars and all, remember them. You have to mug up basically. I generally don't. I mean, I'm not much comfortable in mugging up things. So it did not match me well. But I had to work really hard, to make anthropology work, because now I'm working, I can't change my optional and all, so I have to make that work for me. And so once you're choosing optional, right, just talk to seniors and all, get to know what are the positives and negatives of that particular optional, do some research, and then only jump into the optional. Don't, take vague decisions.
Yeah. So one more aspect I'll shift to, but before that, you said a lot about practicing answer writing. So give me an idea about how much did you practice? Like how many papers did you attempt? Did you attempt all the previous year question papers? Did you do them in writing? What about mocks? How many mocks you used to attempt before the paper? So give me a brief idea, because a lot of students ask is how many practice tests to give, how many papers to write. So what was your strategy here?
So for GS, I used to write in between prelims and mains 3 rounds of full length tests, FLDs. So 3 rounds means like 12 papers it will be. Some 4 to 5 essays I would attempt, which will make up for 10 essays. And optional, it is advisable to write 2 to 3 rounds of full length tests, like 1-2 paper 1-2. One more thing I used to do is I used to simulate like how the actual UPSC exam is. Like you write 3 days, right? Just before 10 days of actual exam, I used to write that simulator so that I'll know how much I'm prepared and whether my speed is proper or not. These exam practical difficulties I'll know during that simulator itself, so that I don't make that mistake in the final examination.
Okay, so you used to sit through 3-4 days continuously and write papers.
Yes.
A week before the paper.
10 days, not week. Week is too close. 10 days maybe.
10 days. Okay, cool. So one more aspect, like after mains discussion, one more thing that even Civilsdaily focus upon a lot is working professionals. We've had a lot of webinars regarding working professionals, and I'll tell you one of the biggest issues that working professionals face right now. Number one is consistency. They are not able to carry on the schedule. Like they'll have motivation for few days, then after few days the motivation stops, right? Second thing is, where do you get time from to study all of the syllabus, right? So consistency and time is something that all the working professionals, like throughout I've talked to a lot of people in webinars, and they've pointed these two things as the major issue. So you were a working professional who got All India rank 28. How did you tackle UPSC preparation through this?
So I will be very honest in answering this question. I don't want to exaggerate things. First thing was, it is as you suggested, it would be very tough for working professionals, because they have to deal with their stuff in office. There will be a lot of things happening in their own life. And at the same time, this exam also demands a lot of focus, and also one should be very disciplined. So with respect to me, how I used to do is I used to finish off my UPSC preparation morning session. My office starts at 10:30. So before that only, I joined job in 2020. So for that year, I used to wake up at 5 o'clock. And by 10, I used to at least finish off that day's studies. So that after coming to office, I don't, because after coming from office, you will be not motivated, you will be drained. And it will be very difficult for one to study. So morning itself, my mind would be fresh. I used to sleep early also by 10 and 11 o'clock. You wake up early, and study. That is one thing. Used to utilize weekends very well. I'm in IT sector, so it's a 5-day week. So 2 days I used to use to the best possible extent, like 12 hours to 13 hours I used to put in, so that I can compensate for the shortcomings I had during the weekdays. So that is how one has to adjust time, and sticking to schedule is very important. Like when you, as I said earlier, I wrote 3 rounds of full length tests, so 2 rounds of full length tests, right? When you decide, you initially plan out some schedule. Yeah, I'll write this test on this day, like 10 days I'll give for paper 1 and write the test 10 days. So try to follow that schedule. It is very important. Once you start meeting those schedules, right, you'll get confidence automatically, and you'll do very well in exam. Trust me on that. Please don't miss your schedules. Don't reschedule it frequently. A lot of people do that. Yeah. So once you committed for a schedule, try to do follow it religiously. That is one advice I'll give. And with respect to office, right? So you will be missing out on a lot of things while preparing for civil services. Like your peers or your colleagues will be promoted early, and you will be left behind because you might be taking a lot of leaves during exam, and management is not satisfied with your work. And don't start too many battles in your life. Already you're working hard for this. Don't waste your energy on small battles like promotions or thinking about office politics and all. Leave office stuff at office only and come to home, and you have your life here. Start living 2 lives basically, one for UPSC and one for office, and maybe then it will work out. And fortunately, I was given though career I was not promoted well, I was given time for during mains or during interview. I was given leaves somewhat liberally. So I used to get some time just before the examination, and it was very critical for me. Like the final revision, whatever it is there, that will be very decisive in any examination. So at least in the final revision, I was away from office. Like 10 days leave if I get, those 10 days will be purely for UPSC. And that revision will anyways help for examination. That is how it worked out for me.
Right. So I think, and one more thing working professional faces is the amount of resources, right? How much to study, because you guys have limited time. Like you used to wake up at 5, you can only study till say 10, right? Not beyond that. So if you have some 5-6 hours in hand, so that means those 5-6 hours has to be utilized in the best possible way. So how did you strategize here? Like what was your strategy with respect to resources, with respect to the schedule that you were following here?
So since I have prepared full time earlier in my earlier attempts, I know the basic books, and I'm very clear that I'll only study limited sources. I don't just go after new sources. I know only by repeated revision of those limited sources, I will be able to clear the examination. Just I have to present well. Knowledge-wise, I'm not less. So limit your resources and keep reading them. Don't run after every new resource that come into the market. As I said, for Prelims, just follow one institute current affairs. Even though you'll be tempted, oftentimes, I'm missing out on something, just trust yourself that that is enough. And that's how working professionals has to manage, limit their resources, and also they have to schedule what they would be studying pretty early. Like you don't wake up and then decide what to study, because it will waste your time. So the day before only, you have to schedule next day what I'm going to cover and all, so that as soon as you wake up, you just get into action rather than planning then. So that is one important aspect.
Okay. So, and I think also working professionals should, like personally, I feel they should take maximum help they can get to various sources. Like even our mentorship was targeted at that moment only. Like all the working professionals, we've got a lot of programs targeting working professionals, because I think working professional is somebody who needs maximum benefit from minimum input that person can get.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So I think.
So I would like to add something here. I just forgot earlier. So there are a lot of online resources for working professionals. It's not like earlier times. So make best use of them. So for example, many times you don't need to read full newspaper. Like Civilsdaily, daily current affairs will be there. So you can just go and see the synopsis of important topics. What I used to do is copy paste them into my Evernote or OneNote. So under the heading, like for example, if there's a India-US trade deal or something, or any trade deal, I used to just copy paste the entire article there and just highlight important points. Later on, once I'm revising, I'll just read those important points. Like that, you can make best use of online resources and reduce your time and effort. That is one important aspect.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a very nice advice from you, Mourya. So let's shift from mains and currents to interview. So you scored really well in interview, like 176 is a good score. And you were under whose board this time?
Satyavati Madam's score.
Okay. And I think you've given interview before also in your previous attempts.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So interview in Sujata Mehta Ma'am board, I got 179 then.
Yeah. So interview consistently you've scored well here. So what was your plan of action for interview? How did you prepare for interview? And what advice would you give to students regarding interview preparation?
So interview is, many people think that they won't be just go and express yourself and all, but there needs to be some background preparation. First thing is, I'm fortunate because of my working background. I have good communication skills because of the regular interaction with team members and all. My communication skills are okay. So that's where I'm confident with respect to interview. Secondly, I used to prepare I'm thorough with my DAF. My DAF, every aspect I used to prepare well, and at the same time, current affairs also I used to follow well during the interview process. And multiple institutions come mock interviews I used to give. From last year, many institutions started this online mock test, so it saved a huge burden, like coming to Delhi and attending the coaching institutions and give the mock test. And that I can sit at home and used to give mock interviews. It helped me a lot, like interacting with senior bureaucrats and all, and that's how I'm able to score decently in interviews.
Okay, nice. So, was your interview completely formal, or there were some instances where you felt like, okay, I'm screwing up, or this is not going in right direction? Was it like that?
Yes, exactly. This year's interview was not so much on expected lines. What happened was there was a huge miscommunication between me and the panel members. I was from Andhra Pradesh, and somehow they came to an impression that I'm from Telangana, and because I'm working in Hyderabad, they started asking a lot of questions on Telangana, and inside within me there was an urge to say that, sir, I'm from Andhra and all, but I can't say that. I have to somehow manage those answers. Like I was very thorough with my home state, Andhra Pradesh, but most of the questions were from Telangana, and I got little nervous there. And what happened was there was a panel member, sir, who asked a lot of questions. He literally grilled me. He asked like 12 to 13 questions, a single panel member. So by the end of that, and most of the questions were unexpected. So by the end of that, I was so down that the third panel member, sir, whatever question he asked, I did not even hear properly. So I was still stuck at the second panelist member only. It's a very big mistake. One has to avoid that.
Yeah.
But so suddenly I felt that everything was going in a very wrong direction. But somehow, like in the later phase, I regained myself well, and I finished the interview well. And that's why I survived. Like actually, I would have got 150 with whatever happened in between. But towards the end, I managed to do well.
Okay. So you picked up yourself. So there's a possibility that usually, even in my interviews, I've seen that there's usually one or two members who will grill you really, really bad. And and if you're able to get past them, I think your score's really good. Otherwise, if you're stuck with them, you are gone for that interview, I think.
Gone for that interview.
Yeah. So Mourya, like
that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's the biggest thing, that you should not get stuck at your past, basically, in life or in interview also. You have to move on, because
nice.
Once you get stuck in past, nothing good will happen. So.
True. So I was actually going to ask you this only. Like my next question was, what is your perspective of what the last few years have been, and how would you judge these years? Like, would you tell somebody to in future to appear for this examination, or would you be somebody who would say ki nahi, go for plan B first, plan that first, and if you really believe that with few attempts you'll judge your parameter whether you'll be able to clear it or not, and then sit for it. So what is your advice here? Like, be practical or be very idealistic?
I'm all for practicality. I'm never too idealist because my experiences taught me so. I was ideal at one point of time. I resigned my job. I sat for 3 years. In fact, I'll tell a small example. But after my second attempt, what happened was I went till interview and I was not able to make into the finalist. I was very disappointed. I thought initially when I resigned, I thought I'll give 2 attempts and if it doesn't work, I'll go for a different career path. But there was a lot of motivation coming towards me from all parents, friends, family that one should not give up. One should be one should never give up. Patience is everything. Like, there was a lot of yarn that was coming to me. So thinking all of that, I thought, okay, I'll sit for my third attempt and I'll do well. I'll work really hard and I'll somehow clear this examination. But because my state of mind was not so good at that time, even though I was working hard, there is no motivation for me. Like, I was just working hard, but there is no happiness or motivation in life for me. So in that attempt, I did not clear mains also. Then I realized, in order to clear this examination, I should be happy. I should be doing something which I like. Then only I can be clearing. Sitting like this, I can never clear this examination. It depends to individual to individual. I'm not like suggesting it in a very general way. I'm just talking about myself only. Based on my mindset and mentality, I thought that if I keep giving like this, I may never clear, because basically I'm not happy with myself and I'm just giving. So that's why I joined a job, thinking that first I'll settle down in career. If that is set, I will give this exam. What happened was, unfortunately, COVID-19 pandemic happened that year and exam was postponed. So I got some extra time. And with that extra time, I was able to attempt the fourth attempt. I missed just by 2 marks in that attempt.
Okay.
From not clearing to mains by getting into reserve list. I got into reserve list. So once I started seeing my name in the reserve list, right, then I started getting confidence. Okay, one more attempt, maybe I can get into final list. And fifth attempt I gave, and this rank was even. I'm frankly speaking that I too never believed, because I saw a lot of failures, right? So 28 is really surprising for me also. I'm very happy with this. I was thinking I'll get somewhere under 200 and at it, I'll settle on as an IPS, but 28, I'm really thankful that I got this rank.
Yeah, I think you completely deserved. Like, even through interviews, I can feel the ups and downs that you've been through in your journey. And I think it's been a beautiful journey. And I was really happy to be connected with you, like, for the last 2 years. And one thing I still remember is, I think it was not in this attempt, but in the last attempt, because I was actually outside and you had just called me up and you were like, ma'am, what all thinkers should I go through? And I actually gave you the list and you were just going through. I remember that incident because I was like, okay, this person is so dedicated now that even in the last few days, he's saying, okay, I'll find some time in between my office and I'll go through one thinkers during that time. So it's like, this amount of dedication is very appreciating. So I'll always cherish those moments. And Mourya, I really wish you all the best for your examination. And I really hope that you go through your journey. The future journey is as beautiful as it's been up till now. And you work well for the organization, you work well for the people. And just last minute mantra, or the last mantra that you want to give out to the students who are preparing for this examination.
I would only say one thing, that it's a long-term process. You need to have a lot of patience, and you have to, as I said earlier, I gave a very big speech in the last question. Just enjoy the process. Do something to enjoy the process. It may be anything, like keep surrounding yourself with positive people, and try to be as happy as possible during the examination phase, because only then you will be able to reach your peak potential. By being in a very sad state or something like that, you may not be able to perform well. That is what I feel. Enjoy the journey also, Enjoy those moments with friends and all, rather than the end goal. Just enjoy the process. Stick to the process is one more important thing. As ma'am said earlier, also a lot of people find it difficult to stick to the process. Stick to the process. For example, prelims means limited sources, revise multiple times. Mains means write these answers. These all got ingrained in me over the attempts. So I know the process exactly. It's about just executing in the given time frame. So keep sticking to the process. Success will come your way. One or the other attempts. It might come early to some people. It might take some time for other people. So try to learn from your mistakes and seek help from mentors. Like I'm very fortunate I got the mentorship from Sukanya ma'am.
Thank you so much.
I can proudly say from 60 to 105. 105 is even, unbelievable for me also. I mean, I lost hopes on ethics and somehow I was able to, and thanks a lot ma'am.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
GS also, Sajal sir, he was also very helpful for me. GS1 I'm very, very weak and I got good input from sir. And somehow I mean everything worked this time. You guys are doing very good job. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Mourya. Thank you. So all the best for your future and take care, Mourya.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update from Civilsdaily.